Greetings, class. I'm so excited that today we have with us Ms. Jessica Cabrera, who is with the South Carolina Farm Bureau. And I'm going to let her kind of share with you the variety of responsibilities she has with that group. One of the reasons I'm excited for her to be with us today is that, as you know, we are transitioning this week from personal leadership and leadership principle to management of volunteers. And Jessica, in her role, has great experience in both of those realms. I've asked her to share her background with you, to talk with you about what's most meaningful for her regarding emerging leaders. And lastly, many of the lessons and principles she's learned in volunteer management, not just with the South Carolina Farm Bureau, but in various professional associations she's been a part of and in previous work that she has done. So Jessica, we're so delighted to have you with us here today in our leadership and volunteer management class for ag education. So would you just start out for us, share us a little bit about your biography, your background, and what led you into the current role you're participating in?
Sure, Kirby, thanks. I appreciate the opportunity to share. Well, my background is in, actually, I got my degree from Clemson University, and I got my undergraduate degree in modern languages. I studied abroad in college in Chile, South America, and I fell in love with language and culture, and I got a degree in that with a minor in secondary education. And I went on to start my official career after having a few odd jobs in education. I became a high school Spanish teacher. That was my very first job. And from that point forward, I moved into professional development about 5 years after starting my career. And I found that I loved working with adults. I loved professional development and really helping people find a way to excel in whatever they do. And by getting involved in professional development, I actually don't, you guys don't hate me, but I did go to work for the University of South Carolina for a little while. And my father said that they have to find smart people from somewhere. So they hired this Clemson grad to come and work for them. And I later decided to get my graduate degree. So I went back to school, got my graduate degree in, it's a very long title, it's Master's of Education in Adult Education and Training and Human Resource Studies. So I also got a graduate certificate in teaching at a distance and virtual learning. And I had a research on diversity fellowship while I was in grad school. And after getting my graduate degree, I got the job at South Carolina Farm Bureau as the Director of Organizational Training and Leadership Development at the time. And that job was my first job in the agricultural industry. So I do not have a background in agriculture, but by a strange series of events in my life, I have learned to love agriculture, and I'm now kind of the cheerleader for agriculture in our organization. And a couple of years ago, my title changed to Director of Member Engagement and Leadership Development at Farm Bureau. And now I work with all membership programs, leadership development, training, and I'm just really enjoy getting people on board with our mission and supporting farmers across the state of South Carolina. In addition to my career path, I guess, that led me to Farm Bureau, I also have a history in volunteering myself and then have ended up leading groups of volunteers. But right now I am serving as the president of the South Carolina Association for Talent Development. And this is a nonprofit association for professionals who are involved in the talent development profession, which is really a broad spectrum of professions. These are trainers, instructional designers, performance improvement folks, anyone who works in the arena of learning and development, leadership development, consulting. We have a wide range of people, even managers and leaders are part of our organization because they're often responsible for the learning improvement of their staff. So I really enjoy that. I've been serving as president for 2 years, and I have a board that I work alongside with and lead, as well as 3 geographical areas that we cover in the state of South Carolina. We have 2 special interest groups and 2 geographical interest groups, as well as our kind of headquarters that is in Columbia, South Carolina, with the Association for Talent Development. And on the side, I also do a little bit of consulting, and I am a senior consultant for Leader Development, Inc., and I do that on an ad hoc basis, and I love working with that company as well. And I should go on to say that I am a wife. I've been married for 16 and a half years. I met my husband in Dallas, Texas, and he is actually from Chile, South America, which is where I studied abroad when I was a student at Clemson. That was definitely God's plan. That was crazy, the way that we met. And then I am also a mother of 2. I have a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old that are in 5th and 8th grade. And I'm a member of a church, and we actually are the chairs of the hospitality ministry at our church, and we work with those volunteers. So there's never a dull moment in our lives, Kirby.
I know that, Jessica, and you can just hear in all that testimony your work with leaders and your work with volunteers. And so recognizing that this class, everybody is a place that they are emerging leaders. They are looking to make a difference, to be influencers wherever they go. What advice, thoughts do you have that you would share with them regarding personal leadership and leadership growth and development from where you're sitting to say to these future leaders in the agriculture and natural resource industries?
Yeah, well, I have kind of a personal definition of leadership that I use that has seemed to work really well for me in all sorts of different contexts. And I believe that an effective leader is someone who can effectively mobilize other people around a common goal to get things done. And ultimately, the reason why we need leaders is because things need to get done, and they need to get done well. And the reason why companies and organizations and faith communities and cities put leaders in their positions is so that those leaders can lead the way for that company, organization, city, country, whatever you want to call it. And ultimately, it's because things need to happen, right? And if someone can effectively mobilize other people around the goal to get those things done, I believe that that really is effective leadership. So what I would say to young people who are aspiring in leadership is, first of all, do it now. Don't think that you're waiting on the moment to be a leader, but be a leader in your everyday life. You can be a leader in your group of friends. You can be a leader for the good in your apartment or with your roommates. You can do that among your family. There's always a way to kind of step up to the plate and to help organize people around something. It could be cooking dinner. It doesn't have to be leading an organization. And if you practice those types of habits and behaviors now, you will only be better for it. We use 5 leadership practices that I developed for a leadership program that we do at Farm Bureau. Are super easy to remember, and that's honestly what I would encourage young people to do. They are show up, step up, team up, link up, and speak up. And if you can show up and then step up to the plate and team up with other people and link up with with folks who would be interested in doing what you want to do, and then use your voice for a good cause. And if you can speak up and do that all effectively, do it with whatever you're involved in, then you're going to be exercising incredible leadership muscles, and people are going to notice. People will kind of be, I tell people, be a head turner, you know, be that person that people are going to go, whoa, what is that person doing? We should go talk to them. That's what you want to be. And if you can do that and help people in the process, then I think you're making the world a better place as a leader.
That is an excellent approach to leadership, and I love how easy it is to remember. So, you know, we become leaders, and you yourself are a volunteer, but you're also a president of folks that are volunteering professionally through an association. What have you found that is crucial to make sure you're managing those volunteers well? Because I know you direct the Young Farmer Ranchers, and those are very busy people that always have something happening on the farm, but you get them engaged, coming to conferences, attending political events. What have you found to be most effective when you're leading volunteers, especially within this agriculture natural resource realm, Jessica?
Well, this is an easy answer for me. The most effective way to manage volunteers is for the volunteers to believe in whatever you are doing. There is, I can't imagine having an effective volunteer effort without volunteers caring about the purpose. And really, if you are going to work with volunteers, I think you should probably learn a good bit about being a purpose-driven leader, because it's very important to have your mission or your purpose at the forefront of every single thing that you do. And it's not just about what you do, but it's also about recruiting the volunteers or getting the volunteers on board. At Farm Bureau, we have over 2,000 volunteer leaders that are sitting on boards and committees within our organization at the local and state level, and the national level. But here, just in the state of South Carolina, over 2,000 volunteers that are sitting on boards and committees to help promote and advance the mission of South Carolina Farm Bureau, which is to promote the interest of agriculture in the state of South Carolina and to optimize the lives of those involved in agriculture. So what I say is, let's just start with the mission. Tell everyone you know what the mission is. What mission are we on? What is it that we care about? And then once you start to see who comes to the table, who listens up, who perks up when you say that mission, who is it that says, I care about that too, I want to make that happen, I want to see that happen, then those are the people that should be leading the mission in that volunteer capacity. So with the Association for Talent Development, I have, we recruit board members every year, and we have different rotation of board members, so it's not always the same people. And we're leading a huge statewide organization, and we do not have one staff person. I am a full-fledged volunteer for that organization. I do not get paid a dime for what I do, but yet it's like a part-time job. So why in the world do I do it? Well, I do it because it means something to me. I believe that the work of this association actually changes people's lives, and that is enough for me to dedicate my time to it. And because I believe in it, I know that this organization has impacted my life, and I know that there are people in my industry and in the talent development world that desperately need the community, the ideas, and the learning experiences that our organization offers. And because of the fact that I believe in it, it's easy for me to talk to other people about it. And it's also easy to talk to find those leaders. I can't say easy, but it's also more effective in helping find those leaders who also believe in it. So we have an incredible board, and we have been able to staff up really well on our board simply because we have people who really believe in the mission of the organization. And at Farm Bureau, it is the same. Our county presidents work very hard. Our state committee members work very hard. Everyone is a volunteer. With the Young Farmers and Ranchers program, the farmers and their families are working day in and day out on their farm and with their family, and they have many competing priorities. So why would they dedicate so much time to serving on this committee in our organization? It's because they believe it's worth it. So you have to kind of think of a cost benefit analysis, and the worth doesn't have to be monetary. The worth can be so much more than that. And I believe that if you're going to lead volunteers and work with volunteers, you have to be driving the mission first. And as people buy into the purpose, they love it. They have fun participating as a volunteer. It's not always perfect, but it's definitely more effective than just doing it just to check a box. That's for sure.
Well, and I just want to testify, since you have stepped into your role, I have seen the growth, the energy, and the excitement among the young farmer and rancher. So you are truly tapping into that why. And this is also meaningful for the students because they themselves have just created a personal mission and vision statement for them during our leadership. And we went through Start With Why by Simon Sinek and all that kind of stuff, so they can resonate to that. Jessica, I'm now going to kind of give you a question I didn't give you specifically, but would like, you're in a very unique position, having not been in agriculture before, and now in this agricultural leadership role. Some of these students may be in similar positions of working with individuals that don't have an understanding of the importance of agriculture. What has been something you've really learned that has kind of been an aha moment for you regarding the importance and vitality of agriculture? And then what pointers might you have to give them as they seek to influence the general public, consumers, those that might not be informed about agriculture, to help them understand how important it is as an industry?
Well, I feel like those of us in the agricultural industry, which now I fit into that category, I suppose, we often complicate the answer to this question. We often make it hard. And what I believe is something that we should all be thinking about is that the answer to this question is not hard. The general public and people that are me, they are me before Farm Bureau. Okay. So I self-identify as this group of people in my former life, my pre-Farm Bureau life. But they do not ever think about the source of their food, fiber, or shelter. That is never, ever on their mind. And now those who may have grown up around farming or who may have had parents that talk to them about the source of their food, that may be different. But the majority of the general public is not thinking about it. I confess, I ate at least 3 meals a day for my entire life until I came to Farm Bureau without ever thinking about where my food came from. It never occurred to me. I never thought about a farmer being on the other side of the food that I bought at the grocery store. And it never crossed my mind that a farmer was on the other end of the food that I got on a plate at a restaurant. And it never crossed my mind that without farmers, I would be hungry and I would not have clothes to wear and I would not have a roof over my head. That never occurred to me. So facing the reality of how much I depend on farmers and how much my family depends on farmers is my aha moment. I am forever indebted to farmers. And so having a career in agriculture is extremely fulfilling because I feel like, well, gosh, they feed me every day. The least I can do is dedicate my career to trying to promote the good work that they're doing. That's one piece of the puzzle for me. It's very simple, but it's just simply opening our eyes to remember where these things are coming from. It's like a parent teaching a child, you know, where do you think money grows on trees? How do you think this food gets on your table? How do you think those shoes get on your feet? It's because we're over here working hard and we pay for these things for you. I feel the same way about a farmer. A farmer is like, where do you think it comes from? You know, you go to the grocery store, you go to a restaurant, you know, you're able to eat well in this country. You have a safe, affordable, and abundant food supply. And the farmers are sitting back going, come on, people, where do you think it's coming from? I'm working hard every single day to make sure that the country and the world has access to this food, and everyone else is sitting around kind of like a child that never thought about it and just saying, well, I just want my food, I just want my shelter, and I want it to be cheap, and I don't want to have to pay a lot of money for it, and I also want it to be safe. I don't want it to harm me. And so make sure that happens, but they're not thinking about where it's coming from. So that's the biggest piece of the puzzle for me. But in addition to that, Kirby, I could get into some of the very alarming statistics that are out there right now that are very true about the agricultural industry. And that is something that, you know, when you start to look at 1.5% of the US population is farming, and the average age of them is 60 years old, and we're losing farmland by the minute, and yet we have a population influx in the next 30 to 50 years that will increase by 2 billion people globally. Where in the world do we think we're going to, how in the world do we think we're going to produce the food to feed these mouths? I just feel like it's simple math. It's not complicated. You know, you add A plus B equals C. You know, you have to have a farmer to produce the food to equal feeding the people. It's not that hard. And so we just have to talk about it. We just have to remember that this is a reality that we're living. And that makes it easy to get passionate about the agricultural industry for me.
Well, that is a great
question.
Yeah,
But
that's a great point of view. And that's why I wanted you to answer that question, because you do come from a unique background and I knew you'd be able to express yourself well. So that inspires me, even though I've been in ag my whole life, just to remember that my brother and niece are doing that every day helps me respect what they do. Well, Jessica, thank you so much for giving us your time today for your very busy schedule. I know the students will be looking forward to getting to ask you questions and hearing more from you in class. And also, y'all, Jessica is key in supporting the Clemson Collegiate Farm Bureau chapter. I invite y'all to meetings all the time, and several of you have been attending. It's just a great place to learn about agricultural advocacy. And Jessica and one of her colleagues, Carrie Walker, works with us to ensure great programming for our Clemson Collegiate Farm Bureau. So not only for that, Jessica, but for everything you do to support Clemson University, the College of Ag, Forestry, and Life Sciences. We appreciate it. And want to give a plug right now to all you students. The Clemson Collegiate Farm Bureau discussion meet is coming up. I hope all of y'all will participate for that and watch for emails on that. So many great things Jessica is doing to develop leaders in our state. So thank you.
I will say, Kirby, that discussion meet is a really awesome opportunity to do that show up, step up thing that I was talking about. Just putting yourself out there and doing something you haven't done before, talking about something that's interesting to you. And then Farm Bureau is always really, really good to anyone who is decides to be involved. You get fun prizes and you get swag. We give away a little money to every single person who participates, and we give more money to the winners, and there's a scholarship associated for the top winner. So it's definitely, there are lots of perks, but it's also a great learning experience, and it's an excellent way to show that you're interested in stepping up and really putting yourself out there.
And it's for undergraduates. I'm sorry, graduate students, you can't participate, but all of you are interacting with classmates that are undergraduates. Promote the discussion meet. You participate, encourage others to come participate, as well as join the Clemson Collegiate Farm Bureau, because every person matters in the Farm Bureau, and it makes a difference for agriculture. Jessica, thank you. Look forward to seeing you in class on Tuesday. And again, thank you for your time today and for all you do for agriculture.
Thanks, Kirby.